USAID headquarters in Washington on high alert, employees ordered to stay home amid Musk's shocking disbandment announcement. Overview. In early February 2025, the U.S. Agency for International Development USAID experienced a significant crisis following an announcement by billionaire Elon Musk indicating that President Donald Trump had agreed to dismantle the agency, which has been a critical part of U.S. foreign aid efforts for over 6 decades. This shocking declaration led to the closure of USAID's Washington headquarters to employees who were instructed to work from home on February 3, 2025. The announcement and subsequent actions have raised serious concerns regarding the future of the agency, its employees, and the broader implications for U.S. foreign aid and humanitarian efforts worldwide. Timeline of events. February 2, 2025. Musk's announcement. Elon Musk announced via social media that President Trump had consented to shut down USAID. Musk described the agency as beyond repair and a criminal organization, citing significant corruption and inefficiency within its operations. His statements ignited fears among USAID employees regarding their job security and the agency's future. Escalation of tensions. In the wake of Musk's comments, 2 senior security officials at USAID were placed on administrative leave after they denied access to classified materials for Musk's representatives. The officials cited legal obligations to maintain security protocol, which underscored the growing conflict between Musk's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency DOGE and the established agency. February 3, 2025. Agency lockdown. Following Musk's alarming statements and the ongoing security conflicts, USAID employees received directives to stay home, marking a drastic alteration in agency operations. Reports indicated that 600 employees were locked out of agency systems overnight and many anticipated potential layoffs. White House response. President Trump, while traveling, criticized USAID's leadership, labeling them radical lunatics and further indicating a desire to restructure or eliminate the agency's independent functions. His comments suggested a significant shift in the administration's approach to foreign aid and governance. Congressional concerns. Democratic senators expressed deep apprehensions regarding Musk's attempts to access classified information and the potential risks to USAID employees' safety amidst the upheaval. They emphasized that any reorganization of the agency would require prior consultation with Congress, highlighting the legal and procedural implications of such drastic measures. Themes and analysis. Agency closure and employee impact. The coordinated announcements and actions surrounding USAID's potential closure reflect a significant threat to the agency's long-standing role in U.S. foreign aid. Employees reported feelings of anxiety and uncertainty regarding their jobs as the agency's autonomy appeared to be under siege. The abrupt transition to remote work and lockouts from agency systems signified a breakdown in normal operations, further exacerbating employee fears of impending layoffs and loss of agency identity. Security conflicts and power struggles. The clashes between Musk's DOGE team and USAID security officials underscore a deeper power struggle within the federal government. The refusal of senior security personnel to grant access to classified materials exemplifies the tensions between traditional government operations and Musk's unconventional approach to agency oversight. The incident raised significant national security concerns, especially with the ongoing access to sensitive materials by personnel lacking appropriate security clearances. Political implications. The events surrounding USAID's turmoil raise broader questions about the future of U.S. foreign policy and humanitarian efforts. The potential merger of USAID into the State Department could fundamentally alter the landscape of international aid and development, shifting priorities and funding away from independent humanitarian initiatives. Critics argue that such changes may jeopardize the rights and welfare of vulnerable populations globally who rely on U.S. support for essential services. Conclusion. The upheaval at USAID, catalyzed by Musk's provocative statements and the administration's subsequent actions, marks a watershed moment in the relationship between the U.S. government and its foreign aid apparatus. As employees navigate an uncertain future, the implications of these changes resonate beyond the agency itself, potentially reshaping U.S. foreign aid policy and its commitment to global humanitarian assistance. The situation serves as a critical reminder of the intersection between politics, governance, and the essential work of humanitarian organizations worldwide. The situation surrounding USAID's potential disbandment raises several counterintuitive points that challenge conventional perceptions of both the agency and the broader implications of Musk's involvement. Here are some of the key counterintuitive aspects of the content. 1. Perception of USAID. Despite being a well-established agency that has provided humanitarian aid and development assistance globally for over 60 years, Musk's characterization of USAID as a criminal organization seems to contradict the agency's mission of promoting democracy and alleviating poverty. This stark reversal of perception suggests a growing divide between public opinion about government agencies and the experiences of those who work within them. The alarming rhetoric used by Musk and the administration contrasts sharply with the fundamental goals of USAID, which many view as vital for global stability and aid. 2. Employee response to disbandment. Rather than rallying in support of their agency or seeking to defend its operations, employees opted to stay home and brace for the worst: potential layoffs and a loss of agency autonomy. This reaction is counterintuitive because one would expect employees facing existential threats to organize and advocate more vigorously for their agency's continued operation, particularly given that many of these employees are dedicated to humanitarian work. 3. Musk's role in government. Musk's appointment to lead a task force with such extensive power over a federal agency is unusual, especially given his background in the private sector. This blurring of lines between private enterprise and government functions raises questions about accountability and expertise. It is counterintuitive that someone primarily known for his ventures in technology and space exploration could hold significant sway over an agency that traditionally operates under a different set of expectations and expertise. 4. Impact on global humanitarian efforts. The dismantling of USAID could lead to severe repercussions for millions reliant on U.S. foreign aid, yet this potential outcome seems to receive little attention in the broader discourse around the agency's closure. The assumption that the elimination of what some view as a corrupt agency will lead to positive change overlooks the reality that many vulnerable populations depend on the very services USAID provides. This disconnect highlights a counterintuitive belief that cutting an agency will somehow improve efficiency or outcomes, ignoring the complexities of global humanitarian needs. 5. Political polarization. The notion that dismantling a prominent agency like USAID could align with broader political strategies is counterintuitive in terms of governance. Historically, U.S. foreign aid has received bipartisan support as it is seen as a tool for promoting stability and American values abroad. The current administration's aggressive stance against USAID could be perceived as undermining the foundation of U.S. foreign policy, counteracting decades of bipartisan support for humanitarian efforts. 6. Congressional oversight. Musk's move to restructure or eliminate USAID without adequate congressional consultation is surprising, considering the traditional reliance on legislative oversight for government agencies. The expectation that such significant changes could be enacted without robust debate or scrutiny runs counter to the principles of democratic governance and accountability. It suggests a potential erosion of checks and balances that are fundamental to U.S. governance. 7. Public reaction. The lack of a significant public outcry in response to Musk's claims and the impending closure of USAID suggests a troubling apathy or disconnection from the implications of such actions. While one might expect vigorous public debate about the fate of an agency responsible for billions in foreign aid, the prevailing narrative appears to be dominated by Musk's sensational claims rather than the critical discussions on humanitarian impacts in foreign policy. In summary, the developments surrounding USAID's potential disbandment under Musk's influence presents several counterintuitive realities that challenge established perceptions of the agency. Governmental processes and the broader implications for U.S. foreign aid. The complex dynamics at play reveal significant discrepancies between the rhetoric of efficiency and the potential humanitarian consequences of dismantling a key institution in U.S. foreign policy. The report surrounding the potential dismantling of the U.S. Agency for International Development USAID highlights several critical points that many may overlook, which could have far-reaching implications for U.S. foreign policy, national security, and humanitarian efforts. 1. The power struggle between Musk and USAID. One of the most significant yet understated elements of the report is the clash between Elon Musk's representatives from the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE and USAID's security officials. The incident where two top security officials were placed on administrative leave for denying access to classified information underscores a dangerous precedent. This not only indicates a turf war but also raises concerns about the integrity of classified information. Significance. The implications of this conflict extend beyond internal agency operations. The ability of a private individual, even one as influential as Musk, to challenge and override the authority of federal employees raises questions about accountability and oversight in government operations. If such power dynamics are normalized, it could lead to broader erosions of institutional norms and protections that safeguard national security. 2. Legality and congressional oversight. The report notes that Democratic senators expressed alarm regarding Musk's attempts to access classified information and emphasized that any reorganization of USAID requires prior congressional notification. This is a critical aspect often glossed over in discussions about administrative changes. Significance. The potential bypassing of established legal and procedural norms represents a direct challenge to the checks and balances that are foundational to the U.S. government. If executive actions can proceed without proper oversight, it could lead to a slippery slope where agencies can be rapidly dismantled or significantly altered without due process. Undermining democratic governance. 3. Implications for global humanitarian aid. USAID has been instrumental in delivering foreign aid and supporting various humanitarian initiatives across the globe. The abrupt dismantling of such an agency could lead to a vacuum in international aid efforts, potentially worsening crises in regions reliant on U.S. support. Significance. The reduction or elimination of U.S. foreign aid could have catastrophic effects on global stability. Many countries rely on U.S. assistance for health services, disaster relief, and poverty alleviation. The loss of these programs could exacerbate existing humanitarian crises and lead to a resurgence of instability in regions that the U.S. has historically supported. 4. Musk's influence and motivations. Musk's characterization of USAID as a criminal organization and his subsequent calls for its shutdown reveal a personal vendetta that may stem from broader ideological beliefs about government and aid. Significance. Understanding Musk's motivations is crucial. His alignment with right-wing populist movements and disdain for traditional governmental functions could signal a shift toward privatization of foreign aid, potentially favoring corporate interests over humanitarian goals. This could lead to a landscape where aid is contingent upon profit motives rather than altruistic goals, fundamentally altering the nature of U.S. foreign policy. 5. Employee sentiment and agency morale. The report indicates a growing anxiety and despair among USAID employees, with many anticipating layoffs and an erosion of the agency's independence. This internal turmoil is significant but may not receive due attention compared to the high-profile nature of Musk's involvement. Significance. The morale of employees is vital to the effectiveness of any agency. A demoralized workforce is less likely to perform optimally, which could result in a decline in the quality of aid programs and services. Furthermore, the fear of job loss and instability can deter talent from joining the agency, leading to a long-term degradation of institutional knowledge and capacity. 6. Broader political implications. The actions against USAID and the potential reorganization reflect a broader trend in U.S. politics, where agencies traditionally viewed as nonpartisan and essential to American global standing are increasingly politicized, affecting U.S. influence and relationships worldwide. Conclusion. The turmoil surrounding USAID's potential dismantling is not just an operational issue, it is a multifaceted crisis with implications for governance, global humanitarian efforts, and national security. The overlapping themes of power struggles, legal oversight, employee morale, and the ideological motivations behind these actions merit close attention as they could reshape U.S. foreign aid and policy for years to come. Understanding these dynamics is essential for anyone seeking to grasp the future of U.S. international engagement. 1. Disbandment of USAID and its implications. The announcement of the potential disbandment of the U.S. Agency for International Development USAID by Elon Musk with President Trump's support marks a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy and humanitarian aid strategy. Historically, USAID has played a critical role in delivering foreign aid and promoting international development for over 6 decades. Its dismantling raises concerns about the future of U.S. humanitarian efforts globally, potentially leading to a reduction in support for critical health, disaster relief, and anti-poverty programs. This topic warrants an in-depth discussion on the historical significance of USAID, its previous successes and failures, and the potential ramifications of its closure on global aid dynamics. 2. Employee anxiety and organizational impact. Following the announcement, USAID employees faced immediate consequences such as being ordered to work from home and experiencing lockouts from agency systems. With about 600 employees anticipating layoffs amidst reports of administrative chaos, the psychological and professional impact on the workforce is profound. This point invites analysis of employee morale and job security in government agencies under political upheaval, exploring how such changes affect organizational culture, productivity, and the ability to fulfill the agency's mission. 3. Security and access to classified information. The conflict between Musk's Department of Government Efficiency DOGE and USAID's security officials over access to classified materials raises serious national security concerns. The refusal of 2 top security officials to grant Musk's team access underscores the importance of established protocols in safeguarding sensitive information. This issue highlights the broader implications of political interference in governmental operations, the need for clear delineation of authority, and the potential risks of compromising national security for efficiency and accountability measures. 4. Political dynamics and congressional oversight. The situation at USAID illustrates the intersection of politics and governance, particularly regarding the Trump administration's approach to foreign aid and agency management. The Democratic senators' concerns regarding potential violations of congressional oversight and the proper channels for reorganizing a federal agency emphasize the need for checks and balances in government. An examination of the political motivations behind the disbandment of USAID, the response from lawmakers, and the implications for democratic governance and accountability in federal agencies offers a rich area for discussion. These 4 points encapsulate the multifaceted issues surrounding the turmoil at USAID, each deserving of in-depth analysis and discussion to understand the broader implications for U.S. foreign policy and governance. 1. The closure of the U.S. Information Agency USIA in 1999. The USIA, which was responsible for international broadcasting and public diplomacy, was disbanded as part of a broader restructuring of the U.S. foreign policy apparatus. The Clinton administration decided to merge USIA with the State Department, reflecting a shift in priorities regarding the dissemination of information abroad. This decision led to significant layoffs and uncertainty among employees, similar to the turmoil experienced by USAID staff following Musk's announcement. The closure generated discussions about the effectiveness of U.S. public diplomacy and the implications for foreign relations. 2. The disbandment of the Office of Technology Assessment (OTA) in 1995. The OTA was a congressional office that provided technology assessments to inform legislative decision-making. Its closure was part of budget cuts and a political climate that favored reducing government size. The disbandment led to concerns about the loss of expert advice on scientific and technological issues affecting policy, akin to worries expressed by USAID employees regarding the potential loss of expertise and effectiveness in U.S. foreign aid and development efforts. 3. The merger of the U.S. Customs Service and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms into the Department of Homeland Security (DHS) in 2003. Following the September 11 attacks, the U.S. government restructured several agencies to enhance national security. The customs and alcohol enforcement functions were absorbed into DHS, resulting in layoffs and a significant shift in focus and operations. This restructuring caused anxiety among employees as well as debates about the efficacy of merging functions that previously operated independently. Paralleling the concerns at USAID regarding its potential absorption into the State Department and the implications for its mission and staffing. Future outlook, predictions following USAID's turmoil. The events surrounding the potential disbandment of the U.S. Agency for International Development (USAID) in early February 2025 have raised numerous concerns about the future of U.S. foreign aid, international relations, and the humanitarian landscape globally. As we consider the implications of this unprecedented situation, several key predictions can be made about the future trajectory of U.S. foreign policy, USAID's role, and the broader implications for global humanitarian efforts. 1. Transition of foreign aid functions. If the Trump administration proceeds with the dismantlement of USAID, we can expect a significant consolidation of foreign aid operations within the State Department. This shift will likely lead to a reduction in the agency's independent capacity to execute humanitarian and development projects globally. The State Department's focus on diplomacy and geopolitical interests may overshadow the humanitarian objectives that have been the hallmark of USAID's past operations. Prediction: the U.S. foreign aid budget may shrink significantly as the administration prioritizes funding aligned with political objectives rather than humanitarian needs. This could lead to a decrease in programs aimed at poverty alleviation, health services, and disaster relief. 2. Impact on global humanitarian efforts. The potential dismantling of USAID could create a vacuum in U.S. support for humanitarian initiatives worldwide. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and international bodies that rely on U.S. funding may face severe financial constraints, which could hinder their operations in regions facing crises such as famine, conflict, and natural disasters. Prediction: global humanitarian organizations may need to seek alternative funding sources, potentially resulting in reduced effectiveness in delivering aid. The absence of robust U.S. support could exacerbate humanitarian crises, particularly in regions where U.S. aid has been critical. 3. Increased congressional response and oversight. Given the backlash from lawmakers regarding the dismantling of USAID, especially from Democratic senators and some moderate Republicans, it is likely that Congress will seek to reassert its authority over foreign aid expenditures. Expect increased oversight and demands for transparency regarding any restructuring of aid programs. Prediction: congressional pushback could lead to legislative efforts aimed at safeguarding existing foreign aid structures and ensuring that humanitarian objectives remain a priority, potentially resulting in a more significant role for Congress in foreign aid decision-making. 4. A public and international backlash. The announcement and subsequent developments regarding USAID's closure have already sparked outrage among various stakeholders, including humanitarian organizations, foreign governments, and U.S. citizens concerned about the implications for global leadership in humanitarian efforts. Prediction: a mobilization of public opinion and international criticism may lead to a re-evaluation of the administration's approach to foreign aid. Advocacy groups may ramp up campaigns to pressure the government to maintain or restore funding and support for international development initiatives. 5. Shift in U.S. foreign policy approach. The events surrounding USAID's potential closure may signal a broader shift in U.S. foreign policy. moving away from multilateral engagement and support for global development toward a more isolationist and transactional approach. Prediction: future U.S. foreign policy could be characterized by a focus on bilateral agreements that prioritize U.S. interests over humanitarian considerations, potentially alienating allies and undermining long-standing commitments to global development. 6. Potential for new structures or agencies. The dismantling of USAID could pave the way for the establishment of new structures or agencies under the auspices of the Trump administration. This may include the creation of specialized task forces that align more closely with the administration's political ideology and focus on efficiency rather than humanitarian goals. Prediction: any new agency or task force may prioritize cost-cutting and efficiency but could lack the expertise and infrastructure necessary for effective humanitarian work, leading to a decline in the quality and reach of U.S. foreign aid efforts. 7. Long-term consequences on U.S. global standing. The potential closure of USAID and the reduction of U.S. foreign aid could have long-term repercussions on America's standing in the world. Historically, U.S. foreign aid has been a tool of soft power, fostering goodwill and strengthening alliances. Prediction: a diminished role in global humanitarian efforts may weaken U.S. influence abroad, emboldening rival nations to fill the vacuum left by U.S. disengagement, particularly in regions where U.S. aid has historically played a critical role in stabilizing governments and fostering development. Conclusion: the current turmoil surrounding USAID presents a pivotal moment for U.S. foreign policy and its role in global humanitarian efforts. As we forge ahead, the outcomes of these developments will significantly shape the landscape of international relations, humanitarian aid, and the perception of the United States as a global leader. The implications will be profound, affecting millions of lives around the world and altering the dynamics of global cooperation and aid distribution for years to come.